Hello YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. This is the America First Pill channel. So we need to discuss about this race in Virginia that took place. It was a referendum election. And it was about redistricting. So clearly the Democrats are trying to redistrict the maps, which, because if you look at the congressional maps right now, there's a 5 congressional districts, and 6 of those currently had leaned Democrat and 5 Republican. Well, the Democrats want to redistrict them, and it's clearly a power grab to give themselves more power to potentially rig the midterms. And doing so, because they had to do a referendum. I'm not sure whose idea this was, but the goal is going to be now redistricting the maps from what was 6-5, which is pretty balanced, to 10-1. That means Democrats are going to be controlling the congressional districts 10-1, which you have to wonder, how exactly is that fair, and how can anyone take the left seriously on anything in regards to this? You know, this is a power grab. It's called gerrymandering. Dems always lecture Republicans about gerrymandering, about how, some state, and that's been a constant battle here in Wisconsin, that Republicans gerrymandered the maps when they did the very thing they accused Republicans of doing. So this is an example of a power grab. And it looked for a second it was actually gonna go in our favor, and it sounded like as the elections went on, the Democrats slowly but surely ended up taking the lead, and now voters actually voted to basically end democracy and end actual representation. That's what they voted for. And of course, Trump believes this was rigged. We don't have fair elections, so that would not surprise me, but it's pretty clear that there are people that there are Republican voters of Trump that did not show up. And in an election that's really close, it's going to take every vote. And if Republicans, and since Republicans benefit off higher turnout now, any Republican doesn't vote gives Democrats the chance to win any election. Even if you supposedly are popular on the issues, if you don't vote and Dems do, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter. And Dems had a huge spending advantage in this race, and they definitely lied to the voters about this map. And I guess I'm not so surprised. They just literally voted for one of the most far left governors now in the country. So it doesn't surprise me, but it's a wake up call. And I think there's a lot of Republicans that stayed home. They're pissed off at the GOP, and they didn't feel the reason to vote. And I think what's happening is we are at the phase where people are fine with the system being burnt. Why would you just stay home and let the Dems win like this? Well, people want the system to burn. They're done. People are impatient. They're ticked off that Trump hasn't done enough. There's people that, are really upset, and, they voted to give Trump one last chance to give an actual effort that you're going to drain the swamp and represent the people. And this is not all Trump's fault at all, but since the swamp is only growing, and I hate to say it, it is growing in a lot of ways, people are wanting to burn the system down. And I think that's what it is. I think it's for people, you either do what we want and drain the swamp, or we'll let Dems win and they'll vote, we'll burn the system down. And I don't agree with that method. That's not how we bring change. That's, to me, acting like a child because you're upset. But this is the reality. And I'm looking at this here, and this guy on X here, he actually lives here in Wisconsin. And Dems are trying to do something similar in Wisconsin with trying to redistrict the maps. And right now, Republicans have a 6-2 here in Wisconsin, 6-2 Republican and 2 Democrat. And we know in Wisconsin they're fair because that's just how it's geography. Most Republicans are concentrated in the rural areas. But if you look at the geography in Virginia, look at how red that state is, but they're now all going to be represented by a Democrat. They're going to be forced to be. Yeah, democracy, everybody. So he posts this, and he posts, book it. If Democrats win the Senate, Assembly, and governor race in November, getting a trifecta, Wisconsin will be redrawn to an 8-0 in favor of Democrats. Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay will split into multiple districts. A multiple battleground purple state will be a full blue. By blue, think Walz, Mamdani, Pritzker for at least a decade, if not more. The level of urgency of moderate and right of center voters in Wisconsin better be ready to match the enthusiasm of the ultra left. And if you look, and what's interesting about this, the left is fuming at the comment sections and are upset that he said this, saying that's a lie. They're calling him dumb. They're saying all kinds of nasty things about him. Even one Democrat leftist here was like thinking that's just totally fine. He responds, "We have lived through 20 years of gerrymandered maps from Republicans in which we won 60% of the vote but got 30% representation. Go F yourself," he says. So, in other words, he's saying it's fine if payback for what the Dems did. So, Dems are only fine with, gerrymandering as long as they're the ones doing it. That's just the way it works. And since they have the media on their side, they can lie, and they're not going to be held accountable for it. So yeah, it's a real problem. And the fact that Dems are responding this way tells you if Dems get a trifecta in Wisconsin, this will happen in Virginia. The reality. So, and why do Dems get so triggered? Because they hate when you tell the truth about their plans. That's it. It's so sad that there's so many people that were willing to vote. And again, how many people lied about this race? Did Republicans invest enough to try and actually win this? It's just, I don't know. Clearly, voters are against gerrymandering, but somehow voters here supported this. I mean, think about it. Even in a blue-leaning state like this, I know it went for Kamala by 6 percentage points, which is a likely D, but even 46%, that's still a lot of Trump voters. So you're telling, and so you have to have independents and Republicans being very against that. So, I don't get it, but this is a reality check. In Virginia, you get what you voted for. You believed a lie again, and now you're going to be represented, and this is a power grab, and it's attempt to steal the congressional races. I mean, this is real bad, people. This is really bad. I mean, it's a reality check, and I think I should be criticizing the left a lot more, and I need to be better at that, but they are the evil ones, or they're the enemy in all this. But this is the problem. The Republican Party, I think, is working behind the scenes to actually give Dems a one-party rule. I mean, why else would they act this deranged? I mean, why would they have such contempt for their own voters? Because they hate that we elected Donald Trump. They hate Trump that much. And they'll never forgive us for it. And they see losing as principled. They stand for nothing. They betray us. They're not even really conservative at all. So voters just don't care anymore. And that's what's happening. But I think I'm kind of feeling like in some way the Republican Party's also controlled opposition. They're bought and paid for to help the Dems give themselves a one-party rule, because Republicans at the end of the day, all they care about is sucking up to their donors, and all they care about is not having to be accountable for anything, and don't want to do things like actually, represent their voters. And ultimately, they see their power protected being a minority. It's harder to replace them when you're in the minority, because then voters are demoralized. So yes, they don't want to win. And they would rather lose and sacrifice this country to the left than to change. It's just a sad reality. So I don't know. We'll see what happens though. I hearing there could potentially be a lawsuit. There could potentially be a lawsuit to against this case, even though voters technically voted for it. Is it unconstitutional, and does it violate Voter Rights Act? I don't know. So it's possible it may not be over, but the thing that's keeping me on the Trump train, despite being frustrated at him lately, is his fight for election integrity. That's if I'm a one issue voter on anything, that's where I'm at right now. Because when he leaves, we need to know that our elections are secured, and that who's being elected is the elected candidate, because we don't have that right now. And I think that's one thing that actually is what's keeping voters that agree with us not to vote. They're not going to participate in a race that's rigged, that's decided. And a lot of people think that. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, let me know what you think. But all I can say is rip Virginia. And let this be a lesson to all those. I'm hearing Wisconsin actually has a chance to flip their governor race. Michigan, Arizona, I don't know. The federal races, I think, were in big trouble. The state races, though, since they're not the same as federal, I think those are the three we have a chance to flip if we pull our cards right. But I mean, I think there's so many people in the GOP that hate MAGA, even though they're grifting off of it right now, even though they don't believe it, that they're willing. They would rather lose as long as Trump is the one existing. And because of that, they're going to let the Dems become a one-party rule. And it's a sad reality. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. But this Virginia race is just, I mean, this is the example. This is what Dems believe in democracy. They think this is democracy, is rigging elections to benefit them. Anyway, if you like this video, let me know what you think. And if you like this channel, please subscribe and hit bell for notifications. The America First Pill channel out.